Ellen DeGeneres' career is a prime example of the saying, "What goes around comes around." While her on-screen acts of kindness and her slogan, "Be kind," helped her build a multi-award-winning talk show, her poor behavior behind the scenes earned her a reputation so damaging that it ultimately brought down everything she had built. Let's take a closer look at what else has been going on in this story. If you think Ellen has faced the consequences for her actions, leave a 1 in the comments. Otherwise, comment 0. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the exciting content coming up. To say that Ellen has a talent for comedy would be an understatement. In just 5 years, after dropping out of college to pursue a career in stand-up, Ellen went from hosting at a local pub to winning the title of America's Funniest Woman and making her debut on the famous talk show, The Tonight Show. Ellen has always had a deep perspective on life, valuing every moment, and believing that everything on earth must serve a purpose except for fleas, because they serve no useful purpose. She often reflects on the big questions in life, imagining what it would be like if she could pick up the phone and ask God about them. Ellen's unique perspective on life, combined with her dry humor and sarcastic personality, captivated audiences and created a strong connection with them. Though her comedy sometimes veered into self-deprecation, Ellen consistently drew from relatable everyday situations to craft stories that her audience could easily identify with. This approach led to her starring role in her own sitcom, where she played a bookstore owner, navigating life through humorous stories and lengthy reflections. While the show was beloved by fans and won several Emmy Awards, ABC canceled it in 1998 after the controversial Puppy episode, which featured Ellen coming out as the first openly gay lead character on television. While Ellen DeGeneres was once seen as a model of kindness and positivity, her downfall has become a controversial story. Is it justified for her to face the consequences after shedding all the pretenses and the facade of her show? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below this video. Although Ellen continued to take on roles in various films and TV shows, the shock from her sitcom's cancellation left a deep mark on her career. Despite the show's success, it couldn't save her career. In the early 2000s, Ellen's career was revived with her voice role in the animated film Finding Nemo. Her performance had a positive impact on her career in 3 significant ways. First, it reminded audiences of what was unique about Ellen's comedic style. Second, it introduced her to a new audience. And third, it reignited interest from Hollywood producers. On September 8, 2003, Ellen officially launched her role as host with the first episode of The Ellen DeGeneres Show. The show followed the traditional Hollywood talk show formula, but it was Ellen's positivity, cheerful personality, and her endearing interactions with guests and the audience that made it truly stand out. Throughout the show, Ellen always found ways to create touching and joyful moments, from doing charity work and giving gifts to the audience to ensuring everyone felt positive after each episode. She turned her show into a positive experience for all viewers, with heartwarming gestures that constantly encouraged the audience to spread kindness and good deeds. Making the audience feel good was always great for the ratings, as The Ellen DeGeneres Show lasted nearly 20 years, attracting millions of viewers each episode and winning over 80 awards. Coupled with Ellen's savvy use of social media to promote the show, it's no surprise that she became a household name for many families over a long period. However, that success didn't last forever, as the public image of the show and its host began to change when viewers started to see what was happening behind Ellen's positive facade. Throughout her time as a talk show host, there was always an undercurrent of resentment from those who had known her personally or worked with her professionally. The first clear sign of this occurred during the Writers Guild of America strike in 2007. At the time, Ellen chose not to side with the writers and continued to work despite knowing that the writers were on strike. While some argued that Ellen's decision was necessary to maintain jobs for non-writing staff, others saw it as a selfish move to keep the viewership for her show. During this time, one of Ellen's former writers posted a blog revealing what she was really like when the cameras were off. The writer described how they would see Ellen during rehearsals, always laughing and captivating them with her charm and comedic timing. But once the director called for a cut, her face would instantly change and she would look at them with a cold stare, saying, "Why do you keep writing jokes that aren't funny?" The writer admitted being disappointed in Ellen, but not surprised by what they had witnessed firsthand. Although these claims didn't have a major impact on Ellen's public image, the entire situation planted seeds of doubt in the minds of viewers, opening the door for skepticism about her supposedly kind actions. Ultimately, if Ellen was unwilling to show compassion to those she worked with, does she truly deserve to be seen as the kind and caring person she portrayed on television? By the late 2010s, the doubt surrounding her kind image grew to the point where people began creating compilation videos and writing articles about the worst things Ellen had ever done, from insensitive jokes about guests to moments where Ellen revealed her true face and exposed her real intentions. A prime example of this was the incident at a famous gift shop, where Ellen tested the audience's trust with a giveaway where everyone could only take one item. She singled out a person in the crowd and humiliated them in front of everyone, forcing people to reconsider the true values she was promoting. While you could argue that these are just isolated incidents, it's hard to ignore the possibility of a darker side to Ellen when an article from the New York Times titled "Ellen DeGeneres Isn't As Nice As You Think" was published. The article discussed Ellen's return to comedy, the struggle between being a good person on screen and having a wider emotional range in real life, as well as her thoughts on those who didn't view her as kind. The article also referenced a principle Ellen set from the start when she began her show: "What I want is for everyone here to be happy and proud of where they work. And if not, don't work here. No one should speak out or be ungrateful. That's the rule, and it still stands." This statement implied that Ellen's workplace was always filled with positivity and happiness, but in reality, working with Ellen was far from the joyful experience she claimed it to be. On July 17, 2020, BuzzFeed published a detailed article about the toxic work experiences of a current employee and 10 former employees of the Ellen DeGeneres show, which included claims that the slogan "Be Kind" only appeared when the cameras were on, and that it was just a facade. These former employees also highlighted instances where senior management made racist comments, played favorites, and suppressed complaints about the toxic work environment. One former employee shared that they never felt safe approaching their manager with an issue, as the manager would monitor them even when they went to the bathroom and text them asking about their whereabouts and why they weren't at their desk. Although Ellen may not have been directly responsible for the toxic working conditions surrounding her show, people still saw her as the face of positivity on talk shows and wanted her to be held accountable, especially since this had become a long-standing public issue. Hannah Muscat, one of the people who worked with Ellen from the very beginning in 2003 when the show launched, shared that from the start, they were told not to talk to Ellen, not to go into her office, and that everything was always tense, making it feel like they were constantly walking on eggshells. Although Ellen was known as the Queen of Kindness, it was clear that from the very start, the workplace was not a pleasant environment. One incident involving executive producer Ed Glavin left Hannah particularly shocked. During a production meeting, Ellen looked at Ed as he yelled at people and simply laughed without stepping in. Ellen even said, every production needs a dog, implying that Ed was her attack dog, the one who did the dirty work so she wouldn't have to. The allegations from staff became even more compelling when a viral Twitter post by Kelvin Portner was shared in which he described several unpleasant interactions Ellen had with fans over the years. In the post, Portner shared that when he was 15 years old, Ellen held a contest for fans to create statues of her and send them in. He spent a lot of time working hard on his piece and wrote a letter to Ellen as well. But a few weeks later, she used the statue as a prop in a game and gave it away to a random person along with $500 hidden at the base of the statue. In response to the growing public outrage, Warner Media launched an investigation and fired 3 executives involved. Following this, Ellen sent a memo to her staff to address the situation and attempt to repair the damage. In the memo, she expressed her disappointment upon realizing that the show had strayed from the core values she had originally set. Ellen pledged that changes would be made and assured that such issues would not happen again. The staff weren't the only ones Ellen apologized to. She also addressed her audience in a similarly empathetic manner. "I'm so sorry that things have gotten to this point. I honestly don't know what else to say, except that this went on far too long. People were allowed to get away with things that were just not right, and that's what's happening. So we have to see justice and fairness for everyone, because right now this is not a fair world. Not at all." Most viewers felt that Ellen's vague apology was nothing more than a meaningless PR move aimed at regaining public support. However, that didn't stop her from trying to craft a different narrative. At the start of season 18, Ellen continued to address the audience and insisted that everything was fine, even though the reality was quite the opposite. This led to the show losing over 1 million viewers, and the downward trend continued throughout season 18. Management took notice, and by May 2021, Ellen announced that season 19 would be her final season. When announcing her decision, Ellen shared that the show had changed her life and that she would forever be grateful to the audience for the years of laughter, dancing, and sometimes even crying together. However, when asked about how she felt about the show ending, Ellen tried to present an emotional image to the public, saying that the decision was very difficult and that she had spent a lot of time thinking about how to announce it in a way people would understand. Still, when confronted with questions about the controversies and allegations that led to the show's ratings decline, Ellen became less forthcoming. When asked about the toxic workplace accusations and the firing of 3 top executives, she insisted that if that were the reason she was leaving, she wouldn't have come back this season because those events had deeply shocked her. Ellen explained that every attack against her was really an attack on the values she stood for and claimed that she was simply a kind person who always wanted to please others and make them happy. To make matters worse, Ellen did not take responsibility for what had happened and described the situation as an organized attack. She claimed it all felt too planned and coordinated, and while people often face criticism, she had to endure 4 straight months of reading in the press about a toxic work environment while all she ever heard from guests was that it was a happy and fun place. Although Ellen was the face and leader of the show, she made it seem as though she didn't fully control or understand the workplace culture there. She explained that with 255 employees and many different departments, she delegated responsibility to managers in each area. Her show clearly affected her, and she said she had to step up to ensure that unacceptable things would be changed. However, she felt that she couldn't control everything unless she stayed with every employee until they left each day, and she wished someone had come to her and told her about the issues. Ellen's lack of empathy toward her staff and fans proved that the show's positive and inspirational message was in reality just a performance, something that only existed when the cameras were rolling. This became even more troubling as these revelations reshaped how people viewed earlier rumors about Ellen's behavior. One audience member who had attended the Ellen show shared how her excitement quickly turned to disappointment. In 2018, Dana DiMatteo flew from Chicago to Los Angeles and was thrilled to be chosen from the audience to participate in a game with Ellen. However, she said she was shocked when producers gave her specific instructions about how to act during the comedic bit. They told her, "You can't be smarter or funnier than Ellen. She's the funny one, she's the star, not you." Ellen, according to Dana, was completely different from the image viewers saw on TV. The Ellen we see on television and the Ellen when the cameras are off are two totally different people. She only talks to the audience when the cameras are rolling. As soon as they stop, she doesn't acknowledge anyone, she just sits on the couch. This pattern of rude behavior became fully exposed in Ellen's final comedy special in 2024 titled For Your Approval. The thing is, I'm a comedian. I had a talk show and I ended every episode by saying, "Be kind to one another." If I had ended each show by saying, "Go to hell," people would have been shocked to find out I was actually kind. I didn't get into this business for the money. The goal was to heal my childhood trauma. I thought if I could make people happy, then they would like me. And if they liked me, I'd feel good about myself. And all I can say about that is thank God for the money. From ignoring the toxic work environment she helped create to making mocking remarks about complaints from fans and former colleagues, Ellen did everything in her power to become unbearable, and the audience refused to let her get away with it. The comedy special received extremely negative feedback and sparked a new wave of backlash against Ellen. At this point, it seemed Ellen no longer cared if people knew the truth about her. She had ended one of the most successful talk show runs in television history. And was now free to pursue any project she wanted. So it made sense that she would completely abandon her positive image. However, in doing so, Ellen also abandoned the very essence of the show that made her famous and built her legacy, clearly proving that it was all just an act. Thank you all for watching this video. I hope the information and analysis about Ellen DeGeneres' downfall have helped you see things from a different perspective. Whether Ellen truly deserved what she faced or not, there's no denying that this story is a big lesson about honesty and responsibility in the entertainment world. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you think about Ellen and her transformation. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to catch our upcoming videos. Thanks for joining us and see you in the next video.